Problem Solving by Dipali from Tiana Solutions. She's a software engineer, and apparently she's been looking closely at this exact issue.
Uh-huh.
How to stop business software from automatically filling in those UDFs when you copy and paste to create a new record.
Yeah, what's interesting here is the specific context Polly focused on. Imagine you're working on, say, a sales order screen. You want to quickly create a new order based on a previous one, so you hit copy, then paste into a new form.
Standard procedure, trying to save time.
Exactly. But the snag is, those custom fields you might have used on the original order, things like specific color requests or, I don't know, custom notes, they get automatically filled into the new order.
Even though they should probably be blank for this new distinct sale.
Right, which, can lead to errors and definitely creates extra work cleaning it all up.
So Dipali and her team at Tiana Solutions tackled this head on. What was their approach? What did they do?
Well, they looked at how the software itself handles changes to the data. Most systems have these underlying mechanisms, almost like digital watchdogs, that trigger actions when something is updated.
Okay.
In this case, they focused on what's called a row updated event handler, specifically within the sales order part of the system. Think of it like a silent alarm that goes off whenever a sales order record is modified.
Okay, so an alarm goes off when something changes. How does that help with the copy-paste issue?
So this is where a clever bit of programming comes in. The system can actually tell how a new record is being created. There's a sort of invisible tag, they call it an is-copy-paste context flag, that gets activated only when you create a new record by pasting. Dipali's solution checks for this flag. If the system knows you just pasted, then it automatically resets those specific user-defined fields back to their empty default state.
That's smart. So it only clears those fields when you're actually using copy-paste to make a new entry, not if you're just editing.
Exactly. It's context aware. If you're manually entering data or just editing an existing record, those custom fields behave normally. It's only when you're creating a brand new record via copy-paste that this automatic reset kicks in.
How did they even figure out this was a problem in the first place? Did users complain?
It came directly from the people using the software, yeah. Users noticed that when they copied and pasted sales orders, these custom fields, the UDFs they had added themselves, were carrying over data from the original order.
And that wasn't what they wanted for new sale?
Nope. It wasn't the expected behavior for a new separate transaction, so they flagged it as an issue.
Makes sense. And what were the actual steps they took to implement this fix? Sounds kind of technical.
It involved going under the hood of the software, yeah. First, they created a new customization project. Then, they pinpointed the specific code related to sales order entry. Importantly, they also identified that these specific user-defined fields are stored in a related data table called sorderx.
So they knew exactly where the extra baggage was being stored.
Precisely. Then they implemented that row-updated event handler rule we talked about, the one that checks for the is-copy-paste context flag.
Right.
If that flag is true, the code essentially tells the system to go into that sorderx table for the new record and set those UDF values back to their default, usually blank, state.
And then they tested it, I assume.
Oh, yeah, thoroughly. After writing this new rule, they published the customization and tested it.
What would that test look like in practice?
Okay, so they'd create a sales order. They'd go into a UDF, maybe one called color, and type in blue. Then they'd copy that entire sales order, start a brand new order, and paste. The key thing they'd look for is that in this new order, the color UDF would be blank again, ready for new input.
Got it. The blue doesn't carry over.
Exactly. The unwanted data is gone.
That's a great, clear example. So for someone listening who's maybe pulling their hair out because of this exact problem in their own software, what's the main takeaway here?
I think the takeaway is that these kinds of frustrating, seemingly small issues in your business software, they often can be fixed with some targeted customization. Dipali and Tiana Solutions identified a specific pain point and engineered a really smart solution by leveraging the system's own logic.
So if you're experiencing similar headaches with your business software, those unwanted data leftovers when you copy and paste, what should you do?
Well, if this sounds familiar and you're tired of manually clearing out those extra fields every time you create a new record, it's probably worth reaching out to Tiana Solutions.
Okay.
They clearly have the expertise to diagnose these kinds of system-specific quirks and develop custom solutions like this one to streamline your workflows. They can help make your software work smarter, not harder.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other daily digital annoyances, those little time wasters, could actually be solved with a bit of clever thinking like this?